Right, hello campers. Right, today we are here with Mike Monk from Mike Monk Events, and he's going to be talking to us a little bit about his business, what kind of Mike does, and then we'll be moving on to his kind of longer term plans, and then maybe what's hurdles he might have in reaching those. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Mike.
Hi, good morning, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about Mike Monk Events. You could have a few minutes or so, maybe a bit about the history, kind of what you do, kind of the business model, that sort of stuff. So that,
Okay. Well, basically, I've been involved in exhibitions both as an exhibitor and an organizer for 40 years. I ran a merchandising business doing things like printing pens and mugs, etc., for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And I used to go to the big exhibitions in places like Olympia, NEC, the big venues, and they would cost thousands to have a stand at those. And I always felt that the organisers weren't too bothered about the smaller company that was there. Once they got you there and got your money, they pretty much left you to it. And I always thought, again, one day I'm going to start business expos, business shows for the smaller business that one can afford and two are fully supported. So roughly 15, 16 years ago, I ventured into this market.
Yeah, okay.
Thoroughly enjoying it. I started off at the Brighton Racecourse running a Brighton Business Expo there. Stayed there for 6 years, and then I moved to the Amex Stadium. And next year, 2026, will be my 5th year at the Amex Stadium.
So, for anyone that doesn't know, the Amex Stadium is Brighton Hove's football ground down here on the sunny south coast, if you're watching in Scotland or America.
Yeah.
So, I suppose you kind of southeast focused, are you? Like, you're kind of doing it's kind of Gatwick or South London-y type down businesses, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of like part of the M25 corridor, if you like.
Yes.
We go... I've now got 3 shows running. I've got one in Eastbourne that we launched this year, which went well, and I have my 2nd Gatwick show in October this year, which I do in partnership with Gatwick Diamond Business.
Yeah.
Again, that was very successful, and that will be happening again next year, possibly in a new venue.
Yeah.
Don't know yet. And I think Eastbourne will possibly be in a new venue next year as well.
Okay. So how's the kind of business taken off? I mean, presumably you left where you were to pursue this, pens and paper essentially, branded pens and paper, to pursue this, and then obviously that's a big step to do that, but obviously it's grown since then. What's the kind of like the curve of turnover, growth, whatever, how's that kind of been really? I mean, early days it's always difficult to get anything in hospitality events off the ground, and then it grows with kind of, in my experience, it grows with like brand recognition and repeated things. Like you run it for 3 years, it doesn't really get off the ground. It's when people start going, oh, I hear about that all the time. So.
Yeah. Well, I found that I'm a big networker. I've been networking again for many, many years. So I've got a lot of connections, especially in the southeast and Brighton area, mid-Sussex. And when I launched my first show at the racecourse, we actually sold out, which kind of really surprised me, to be honest.
That's good, yeah.
I wasn't expecting that, and I think we had something like 45, 48 stands. We managed to get over 200 people through the door, so that was another bonus. And we delivered what I said we'd deliver, and that was great support service to the exhibitors, great seminars, a lot of good... What I do is I create a buzz at my shows, and people now say, we really like the buzz at your shows.
Yeah.
There's a lot of networking going on, a lot of connections being made. I'm quite choosy over the people that run the seminars because I want them to be people that are experts in their field, and it's got to be a hot topic that people are interested in at the moment, like cybersecurity, for instance, things like this. So people will want to go to those seminars.
Yeah.
Since that first one, I've managed to grow it. And since I moved to the American Express Stadium, it's we get now about 65, 70 exhibitors regularly. And last year we had 340 visitors.
Yeah.
And that was with 2 hours of heavy rain. So that probably knocked out about another 100 exhibitors. Because the one thing that does stop people going to business shows is the rain.
Yes, which you can't control.
No, I can't control that one.
So in terms of like the target market is the kind of the smaller business. I'm guessing the stands that you have are kind of sub £1,000,
Yes.
Ranging maybe for a much smaller stand.
Yeah.
When you say you create a buzz and the rest of it, how does that kind of what does that entail? I mean, you mentioned about being picky about the speakers and the rest of it, but the buzz that you create, what's that?
Okay, well...
Like your USP, I suppose, isn't it?
Right, yes. Well, I create a buzz myself. I've got a great team who are all self-employed. I have a lady who's an expert in this field, and she runs my reception area. Yeah. I bring in the young people from the event academy who want to get into events and want to learn. Yeah. So this is a great opportunity for them. I pay them obviously for the day, but they get wonderful experience. So we have a good vibe as soon as you come in. But what I've also introduced is a breakfast meeting now. So at 8 a.m. on the morning of the venue, of the show rather,
of the event, yeah,
we have a breakfast meeting, and we're getting on average about 50 people buy tickets to come to the breakfast meeting. Again, I have a good speaker at that, and I encourage people to network at the breakfast meeting. I actually stand up and say, right, would you like to be introduced to anyone, or would you like to move tables? How would you like to do it? So it creates a buzz that carries on into the show when the show opens at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, okay. So obviously you're creating this buzz and the rest of it, distinguishing yourself from another, events or something like that. What is it that the public are going to see? Because I'm sort of thinking, obviously I'm your target market to some degree, but I get saturated with there's a show on every single week. Obviously I know you, and we've even exhibited at some of your shows, and I spoke at one of them. But how would a new person distinguish that yours is going to be better? What are they going to see? How's that marketing strategy? If you imagine you've got, I'm just trying to think the strategy, if you like, over some of your competitors, because it's quite, I wouldn't say it's mega crowded market, but I see on LinkedIn especially is a lot of shows in the southeast. So how is one going to choose which one that they would want to spend their 500 quid on? Because a lot of businesses, smaller ones, they're only probably going to do 2 shows a year or something like that, so they have a small budget.
Personal service.
Yeah.
Somebody approaches me, they're interested in the show or finding out more about the show. If they're not too far away, I'll say to them, okay, would you like to meet up for a coffee? I'll come and meet with you. Yeah. And I will actually talk you through the whole process. Okay. I've invested very heavily in our website. I've spent thousands on the new website, which people really like, because we're probably one of the very, very few organisers who has an automated floor plan and exhibitor list. Yeah. So you could actually go on to my website, very simple instructions on there, and book your stand without even talking to me. Yeah. So we've made that access very, very simple for people. Okay. We've made the website, we update the website all the time after each show, and we encourage people to visit the website. Yeah. So perhaps after I've had a meeting with them, I'll say, okay, go onto the website, or even I'll have my laptop with me and I'll say, right, let's just have a look who the exhibitors are. Let's see who's there in your market. Some people will come to me and say, well, what's your visitor data like? Yeah. And I'll say, well, what sector would you like me to tell you about? Because we capture all our data, and we make sure it's categorized. So if it's in construction, if it's in automotive, if it's in marketing, if it's in banking, if it's in legal, and we can tell you exactly who's come through the door. Yeah, okay. So there's a good insight into what goes on. Plus you've got good seminars, and they're going to attract people as well. Yeah. And we're very strong on LinkedIn. I'm very strong on LinkedIn. I'm posting every week, different things, different articles, different comments, who's exhibiting, what's happening. So there's a constant flow coming out from me.
So I suppose question then, based off of that, you're catering for this kind of self-service a little bit, they can go on your website and the rest of it, which probably suits your kind of sub-30 employee business. They probably don't need your I wouldn't say holding their hand, but explaining what the trade show is about, all the way down to your very personal service of going to meet somebody and explaining what the show's about, maybe giving them some ideas for their stand. It might be their first one or whatever. So that's quite, a nice, unique thing to do. How do you find, like, as the business has grown, like, obviously it's, a toll on your time, isn't it? So to do those things, because it's something that I experience as our business grows, like, you offer that very personal, nice service, but it's quite hard to maintain as you get bigger, as you're, imagine you are doing maybe 2 Eastbourne shows a year and 2 Brighton shows and it becomes quite difficult for you to maintain that. How is that? How do you feel that that's gone as you've grown? It is quite hard, isn't it? And then you end up having to get someone to, like an apprentice or your protege, to train up to do that.
No, you're 100% right. I now give an awful lot of work to my virtual PA.
Yeah.
She does an awful lot of work behind the scenes. I now have appointed a marketing agency.
Yeah, okay.
A local marketing agency, a well-known local marketing agency, based in Brighton, who are now dealing with all of that side. So that's taken a lot of that away from me, which enables me to focus in how I'm going to grow the brand.
Right.
So that's 2 areas. I'd like to just step back as well when you were talking about new exhibitors. And what I brought in this year and was very popular, and we'll do it again next year, I did this at Brighton. I did a workshop about a month before the show at the American Express Stadium.
Okay.
I hired one of the lounges. I paid for it. I paid for tea, coffee, cookies. And it was a 3-hour session. And I showed exhibitors, it was purely for exhibitors, how to be a brilliant exhibitor.
Yeah.
And I went through all my years of knowledge and experience and what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. So I go through the before, the during and the after.
Yeah.
And I got some great feedback from that. So much so I'm definitely going to do it at other shows now.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think that, in my experience, that definitely misses from a lot of these more corporate events type things, because you're kind of, you pay your money and then it's sort of you're done, and then you arrive on the day often and you're kind of showing your stand, and then there's power or there's not power. There's always some drama in setting your stand up, and then you pack it back down at the end of the day and you go. But no one really... I go to a lot of them as a visitor, and I see often the kind of new, smaller businesses where maybe it's the owner on the stand or whatever, and they do the classic, like, they stand behind the table and they're not very inviting to look at, or they don't staff it properly. They wander off for a sandwich, and they're, or they're on their phone, or they're doing some work. They're trying to utilise their time. And I get being productive. Like, you do want to make the max out of your day, but you have to remember you're there to present to people as well.
Exactly.
And the amount of times you go to a stand and they've littered it with, like, merch, but then they don't have a brochure because they've gone sort of heavy on water bottles or something like that. Like, I think that kind of guidance is kind of lacking. So that's interesting that you do that kind of workshop stuff. I think that, it's not something that's come across my radar particularly, but it would be, I'd imagine that would be quite useful for a lot of first-time
Very much so.
or maybe ones that don't feel like they're getting enough from it, and they're wondering why they're not getting enough from it.
Amongst it was about 25 to 30 that came to that. There were quite a few old hands, which really did surprise me when they walked in. I went, wow, you guys have been around a while. They said, well, you can always learn something. I said, that is so true. I always say that every day you can learn something new every day.
You can, yes. And I think the journey of educating yourself is an endless task.
Absolutely right.
Reading books, learning about new stuff. So, yeah. Okay, so what's the plan for the future then?
Okay, well...
So we're here at the moment. We've got you kind of Gatwick, Eastbourne, Brighton, and I know like some of those you're a couple of years into, some are longer. So what's the kind of next year, 3 years, 10 years? What does that look like?
Well, 18 months or so ago, I was approached by Nick Bryant, guy in Kent, who said to me, I'd really like to run business expos. So, cut a long story short, I helped him set up Tunbridge Wells Business Show, which sold out and was a success. And Nick has now gone on to, I think, have 4 shows in Kent. So
Okay.
he's pretty well sewn Kent up.
Yeah. He's taken your model and run with it.
So this has obviously encouraged me to think it through, and I've decided I'm going to license my shows.
Okay.
And that's the way I want to grow the business. I have experience in that because in 99, 2000, I did actually franchise my merchandise business.
Yeah.
Much against everybody saying, you can't do that, it won't work, it's never done. It was a complete downer everywhere. So I spent 18 months preparing. I didn't rush into it. I went up to the British Franchise Association, went to their conferences, spoke to big franchisors.
Yeah.
I really did my due diligence. And I launched at one of the big franchise shows in Birmingham, and we sold a stand after the first, a territory after the first show.
Yeah.
I ended up with 12 franchisees in 2 years, including 2 in Ireland, which was too quick a growth, I'll be honest. I had to ratchet it back because it was too fast a growth, and we had to just
operational problems started to creep in,
bringing more people in, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I ran that for 10 years and then sold it. I actually sold it back to the franchisees, which was quite interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
We had a competitor franchisor who wanted to buy it, so I just thought about it, and I had, like everything, you get good and bad in every walk of life.
Yeah.
So all my good franchisees, and there were a few of them, I approached them separately and just said, look, I'm going to come out of the franchising world now. Would you like to buy the territory? I will then relinquish the clause of stopping you trading for 12 months in this area. And they all jumped at it.
Yeah.
And I still get Christmas cards from them now, because they've now got nice little businesses going along and in their own name. So that makes me feel good as well. And I'm going to adopt the same approach with licensing my shows. Okay. My shows are a very, very different animal to a merchandising business. A show is where somebody like Nick, for instance, who really wants to do it.
So does Nick franchise, like, effectively uses your brand, or is he's
he's gone on his own. We did a profit share basis.
Yeah, okay, fine.
But I've just
some incentive.
Yes, but now I want to license the shows.
Yeah.
And it's finding the right people is going to be the tough part of this. Finding that person who wants to do business shows, who realises the amount of work that goes into a business show, and is keen to either have it as a bolt-on business to their current business, or they want to take maybe 1, 2, 3 territories, and build shows. So this is how I see my growth pattern.
Yeah, okay. I'm kind of really glad that you've recognised that. Because to be honest, sitting here, I was thinking, okay, so when Mike wants to retire, this is all going to die because it's totally reliant upon you.
It is, yeah.
So the franchising model kind of sprung to mind, if I'm honest. If you're going to kind of grow it, sustain it, and then maybe get yourself out of the business, because it's not sustainable, especially if you grew all over the UK. It's not sustainable you going to see small business owners telling them, what their stand should be, or running workshops or anything like that. But those things,
I probably haven't got the energy to do that.
Well, I don't know many people that would running across all the UK to do that. So you'd have to be fairly young and sprightly and maybe not have a family.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably a good way of going with the model. Obviously, the ups and downs of franchising, I'm sure, from your previous experiences, but it's all about the people that you get into franchise, making sure that they do believe and follow in the systems. Because you can get some wildly different, they're part of the same franchise, but you go and deal with one franchisee in Scotland and you deal with one in Cornwall, and their view of the agreement is wildly different.
Very much so.
So policing it is key. Yeah. I think, is it the founder, isn't it? The guy that did the McDonald's stuff, the franchisee. And there's a bit in that film where at the early stages of franchising the McDonald's stuff, he did the tour himself, and there were people selling stuff that wasn't to do with the menus and the rest of it, and had stickers up in the window.
They think they know better.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of get they're happy to start with the franchise. I mean, I'm sure you had this with the
I did.
with the stationery business. It's inherently difficult to keep people in track when you can't be there all the time. So, but that is something you can employ someone to do, to go around and police it essentially. So
I would have to. I think. I mean, if we bring another one on in the next few months, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Once I start getting beyond that, I'm going to need somebody to come into the business who is obviously younger than me and two, can help to grow the business. It may be they want to become a partner in the business. I'm completely open to that.
Yeah.
I don't have any problems with that at all. And then if they wanted to get involved in the main business, and then there may be an opportunity where they could say, okay, well, I'd like to buy you out now, Mike, and that can be done as well.
Yeah.
So
I guess the kind of, from reading your thing, but the longer term plan is to build up this franchise arrangement and then look for an exit at some point of some nature, whether that's the franchisees buying you out or somebody who's doing that. So I guess what does the journey between like now and say 5-6 years down the line, where you might be looking more towards the exit? Do you have some target areas that you want to go?
Towards the exit will be sooner than that.
Yeah. Okay. So accelerated exit. Yeah. So what? Okay. So we're gonna try and smash this out in like what, 2-3 years? You're talking. Yeah. So do you have like a kind of strategy or a target areas that you're gonna go for?
I'm working on those at the moment. We're hoping or looking to launch the license model out into the big wide world probably in the next month.
Yeah.
Once I've finished doing my strategy plan. Ideally, we'd like to get areas that are relatively in the south of England.
I was going to say, when you launch it, it'll be fairly problematic if your first one is in Merseyside or something, and you've got a 5-hour round trip to go up there and sort of semi-police it a little bit. But,
So we're looking probably for the southeast to start with, whether we're going into Hampshire or going up into Surrey more.
Yeah,
they're all very accessible. So those would be the key areas I'd be looking at.
Yeah, and would you be looking to give fairly large areas or the scope to reduce those areas? Yeah. Okay. So you'd be like Bournemouth, for instance.
Guildford, Bournemouth, Portsmouth.
Yeah.
So you've got enough people and businesses to be able to build and run a successful business show there.
Yeah. Okay.
So they'd be good territories.
Okay. So on that basis, I suppose, is there like kind of the exit strategy, if you like? So you've got to kind of smash this out in 3 years. What hurdles do you think you're going to come across in doing that? I mean, it's quite an ambitious plan, to grow. I mean, I don't know if you have like an end goal, like you want to have like 8 areas, and that's the time that you want to get to within 3 years, or anything like that, like a KPI for you to aim for. I don't know if do you have that at all, or?
Yeah, probably 6.
Yeah, 6 areas. So 6 areas in 3 years. Then look at some sort of exit of whatever nature. Yeah. So what hurdles do you think you're going to come across between now and then?
Biggest hurdle is going to be finding the right people.
Yeah.
By far. That was the biggest hurdle I had when I did my franchise many years ago. You find the good people, they're wonderful. They hardly ever bother you. They follow the blueprint. They absorb all the training.
Yeah.
And they do well. The ones who think they know better phone you up all the time, drive you mad, and don't give you the return that you expect to be given from the territory they've got. So I understand that side of it. So I would have a very strict criteria in place when we interview people and talk to people, and make sure that they really are the right caliber of people, and they are the right people that I feel can come into the business and enjoy the business culture and like to create a vibe and a buzz at their shows, so we have the same feeling at each of the shows, which is quite kind of unique to us in a way. So that will be the biggest hurdle. The next biggest hurdle after that will be finding the right venue, because believe it or not, it took me ages to find the right venue at Gatwick.
Yeah.
Because Gatwick hasn't got a
No.
conference centre.
Yeah. Venue is massive
It's
for
huge
these
in the
things
show.
because
There's
if you
parking.
can't park, people can't find it.
Exactly.
There aren't facilities there. It isn't easy to access either. Like
Yeah.
if you're not slightly off of a motorway or a dual carriageway, then
Yeah.
people get a bit kind of, oh, it's too far into Brighton or
Yeah.
whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But just quickly back on the people, I suppose the question is how do you police what's your kind of method of policing it? Because it's very difficult, because if someone wants to come in on a franchise model and
Yeah.
you want them to create the buzz and do the workshops and the rest of it and so
Yeah.
on, finding those people, because it's a smaller pool of people to pull from, will be harder. So what's the sort of marketing strategy look like to get the right people, I suppose? I guess the message is, I'm just thinking about, like, if, say, like I was thinking about going into this industry and then I see your thing, I want to know that what you're expecting of me, like how that message is going to be relayed, so that you can filter out the people that are perhaps doing it thinking it's going to pay off their mortgage and be done with it, and it's a bit of a side hustle or something like that, or whatever. You want to filter those people out.
And the ones who think they're buying a job as well.
Yes. yeah, exactly. You don't want someone like constantly being like, I need support and help. This is a self-employed with a license to use the brand, essentially. So,
well, we would put a page up for them on the website. We would go and help them find the venue. We would get the floor plans drawn up, everything else automated, etc. It'd be exactly the same. It would be branded under our name. They would be Mike Monk Events Portsmouth Business Show or something like that.
Yeah.
They would get all the support they need, but they'd have to be capable of absorbing that and going off and then doing it.
Yeah.
We would help them find their first exhibitors. We would help them find the right speakers for the first show. Having also found the right venue for the show, it's really a case then we'd have to help them. If they haven't got a good profile on LinkedIn, we'd have to help them grow a good profile, because we find LinkedIn works really, really well for us.
Would you be the franchisee model? Are you sticking with the Mike Monk's business show?
No, because I call them Brighton Hove Business Show, Eastbourne Business Show,
fine.
Gatwick Business Show. It would be Portsmouth. It wouldn't be Mike Monk.
Fine, okay. I was going to say, because that kind of ties you to it by name.
No.
Yeah, okay.
It would be the area. So Portsmouth Business Show or Guildford Business Show.
Yeah.
We would also encourage them to go out to networking events and finding, if they're already networking, that's great.
Yeah.
I would probably want to go along and come along to some of their networking events to see what they're like. I can remember one of my franchisees who turned out to be my best franchisee.
Yeah.
She was so nervous about going to her first networking event, which I was encouraging her to do.
Yeah.
She said, if I paid for a hotel, would you come with me to the breakfast meeting?
Well, that's a bit of a proposition, isn't it?
So my wife went, what's all that about? So I did. I went over and we went off early in the morning. We had dinner the night before and I talked her through it.
It's not getting any better, this, Mike,
So I said, look, at the end of the day, I'll introduce you. I said, but you've got to be the person that stands up and talks.
Yeah.
I said, because after I've gone out the door, you're the person that be talking.
You're the limelight's
It's
on
not
you.
me, it's you. So we did that. I introduced her, etc. And she had listened to me very well, and she spoke very well. And within a year, she was running that networking event.
Yeah.
She absolutely, and I knew she would.
Yeah.
Because you can tell a person if they've got that in them.
Yeah.
And a year later, she was running it. She became my best franchisee.
Yeah.
So if I could find loads of people like her, I'd be very happy.
Yes. And therein goes the difficulty with expanding it in consistency. So I think that message is important from, like, my advice, to make sure that you capture and filter out the stuff you don't want, really. The more specific you are, the more people's expectations are set correctly from day one. So be interesting that. I think people, like, if you did like a little video clip or something of like, and your passion comes across in what you're trying to achieve, that might go down quite well as well on that franchisee page that you're talking about. Because it's the passion that they're going to buy into, and they have to believe and follow, really, don't they? So
well, people buy from people, don't they? I've always believed that.
Exactly, and you're leveraging your networking locally into a wider area, so that is probably going to speed up that 3-year plan if you can leverage that a little bit by putting yourself on the forefront of that kind of drive, if you like. So okay. On your sheet here, we've got finding the right people to grow the business, which obviously we kind of discussed that already, and then the next two things are keeping healthy, and then also the increase in national insurance and cost of living. So keeping healthy, we'll have a look at first. What's we all got to keep healthy. No one likes to exercise particularly, but
well, I'm at a certain age where I have to make sure I try and keep myself healthy.
It's a challenge, though, is it?
Challenge, but I've always liked sport. I played tennis for 40 years. I played amateur football for Ditchling for 10 years. I try and play a bit of golf. I'm now found paddle, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. So yes, my wife keeps me on a very good diet. Luckily, she's a really good cook. So I eat well. I don't smoke. I do like the odd drink. I keep that under control as well, as you have to as you're getting older. Try and walk a lot and just basically keep as healthy as I can.
Do you find it difficult when you're busy to keep the healthy? Like, is that like you've put it as a challenge? So is it just because it's just life's challenge, or is it because I find it quite hard sometimes to stick to a routine when you're busy? It all goes out the window. Like I've known, Hayley, my PA, will say I used to come to the office, I'd get changed to go to the gym, which was literally like 2-minute walk away, and I'd never even make it because the phone would ring, someone would come in, some staff would need some help or whatever. It's incredibly difficult sometimes when you're busy.
Yes, obviously if something comes up in the business, that's got to come first. I've got 3 grandchildren. 2 who live here and 1 who lives in America, and they want more of my time, especially the 2 that are here. And I'm loving them. I'm thoroughly. I love and you can hand them back at the end of the day.
I think that is the number one thing with grandkids, isn't it? Hand them back.
They are great, and I love them. And it's been great. And I've got a boy and a girl here and a girl in America, and the boy keeps me very active. He likes to do sport and everything, so that certainly keeps me active. And I want to spend more time with them as well. So this is also part of my plan.
Okay. Well, that brings me on, I suppose, to the comments about the national insurance and the rest of it. You've got a lot of self-employed people, so NIC, cost of living, obviously NIC and cost of living are kind of 2 sort of different things. Are you talking about businesses, national insurance?
I'm talking about the businesses out there, how they're going to cope with the increases.
So you're talking about...
I'm not saying from my purpose, because I don't... They're self-employed, I don't get involved.
As in, the challenge is that people might not sign up for the shows because they're cutting back or whatever.
We've just got to find another 20,000 a year or 10,000 a year or whatever in NIC. Therefore, we'd like to do all your shows, Mike. We can only do 1.
We're heading in, without turning it into politics, because we'll get hammered in the comments, I'm sure, or somebody will comment something on it, so we try not to go down there. But I do think that it is very difficult. The increases in national insurance and turnover tax, like rather than taxing profit, it seems to be they're just taxing the turnover of a business. And a lot of businesses that I know of are cutting back things. They're not taking people on. They're kind of, really kind of buckling down or bolting up the hatches, ready for the winter, so to speak. We're filming this in November, but so no pun intended. But you've got a budget coming up in a few weeks' time, at the time of this podcast, and people are just not doing anything at the moment. Like literally, it is. you ask anybody how business is doing or whatever, and within probably the first few sentences, they'll be talking about the economy and the budget and the rest of it. So it's a hot topic on people's mind. So we've experienced that quite a lot here. You know, people are waiting to see. We do a lot of property-related stuff. No one's really buying or selling anything at all. They're waiting to see if they get hammered or there's new regulations come in. There's lots of talk about tenants, all that kind of stuff, and their rights. So it's quite uncertain, but I do think there's still business to be done because you're kind of. Someone said like you're sort of your own economy, if you like. Like some businesses are more affected than others. So. If it was me, my advice would be to try and single out those businesses that are less affected by those things. Bigger companies tend to weather the storm a little bit more, but when they try to make cuts, it's like across the board. They just go, we're not doing any business shows this year, that's it, end of. And there's no leeway on that. Whereas if they go, we are doing business shows, then they don't. The cost is already built in, so they're not kind of picking up whether they need electricity or do they really, like all those incidentals that small businesses probably will worry about. Are they going to use the whatever, I don't know, £25 for the socket? You know, can we run it off a power bank or something? You know, is that kind of stuff?
100% right. Yes, it's. I'm waiting for the budget to see what comes.
Yes,
a little bit concerned about it, but and I have noticed. I mean, we've already got stands booked for Brighton, which is good. So far ahead. But I have noticed some people are saying to me, oh, Mike, is there any chance we can extend the credit payment terms? So I'm having to look at that now and say, okay, well, perhaps we can do it in 2 payments or 3 payments, you know, and how we structure it. That's something new that's coming in, I've noticed. And a lot of people that would book early now are saying, oh, I'll leave it until we're into the new year. Which again, that's something I've noticed. So people are being more careful, a little bit more wary. But what I always say to them is, have you done the business shows before? Yes, you have. Have they been successful for you? Yes, they have. We got 4 new clients from it. I said, so in that case, why don't you think about gaining more clients next year by being at the business show? And they very often turn around and say, yes, that's a really good point, Mike. I have one business in particular, and he's actually said it on camera, and he's been at Brighton for 4 years each year. He's had 18 new clients from 4 shows, which is phenomenal. You know, it's absolutely phenomenal.
Just quickly back to those payment term things. That's interesting, because one thing that kind of popped into my mind about it is, so I own an accountancy firm, and we have started allowing businesses to pay for their accounts monthly now. I think you met Sharon before anyway at Awesome Accountants. We'll give her a shout out. So we own that half and half, and we decided that we would let people pay monthly for that. So if you take a small business, their accounts are, I don't know, let's say £1,200 to keep the maths easy, they can pay £100 a month to us. And we know that the money has been paid to us, so we don't have to chase the debt. We've got a drip feed of money coming in, but it also allows that business to, be a little bit more cash monitoring, frugal, whatever you want to do. They're not getting that big lump sum £1,200 invoice. They're actually just paying £100 a month towards it. The other bonus for us, maybe it doesn't affect you so much, but often people's version of what they actually want with the accountancy firm is a set of accounts, but we're going to reconcile all the books. And when we come to it, the books haven't been reconciled, and then you get embroiled in this kind of, well, it's not £1,200 anymore, it's £1,400 now because we've had to spend extra work on it. So I guess that from that point of view, it's easier for us to go back and say, look, you need to top it up by a couple £100, and then it's not so much for them to find. Whereas that business model's worked quite well for us, and it's actually smoothed out the peaks and troughs, because we would get lots of businesses would be formed in the new year. So lots of year ends were like in August, 9 months later. So we get this influx in August and September of income, and then we do the self-assessment time around January and just shortly after April, where the people are a bit more organised. But in the rest of the year, it was like, you had to, the peaks and troughs were down, if you like. So that smoothed things out a little bit. And I'm just wondering if that could be applied to your kind of model, if you like. Like, say the stand's £1,200 and you go, right, it's booking next year. If you sign up now, you can pay monthly and there's 10% off or something like that. And then people like a deal, not a discount, just a deal. I'm offering you this because you're booking in advance. So you're not kind of discounting your show's credibility. And I'm allowing you to pay interest-free monthly. And then that way, when it gets nearer to the time and say it's June and you're offering this in July and they've got a year to pay it, you get to December and they've missed a few payments, that's when you can be saying, look, I'm going to have to let your stand go, but you're losing your money and the rest of it. So you can have those conversations. And they're unlikely to pull out when they've got past that kind of like, well, we've paid for 50% of it, we might as well carry on going. Whereas you must get a lot of inquiries and then people say they're going to sign up, then they don't, or they pay and then they go, we're going to cancel, can we get a refund or something or other. So it irons that out a lot, I found. Especially with the accountancy firm, people would sign up with us and then it would be like an absolute mission to try and get them to send the information to us. So the year end would go, and it's like, when I did the research, it was often, we're just, in a way, we're not sending the information to the accountancy because we're worried about the bill, because they'll prepare the accounts and then we'll have to pay it, and we haven't got the money to pay it right now, so we don't really want the accounts prepared. So a little bit of kind of research into that, and I found it kind of really helped the model actually, and kind of iron things out for people, especially those kind of small businesses that kind of money is fairly significant. It's like having an extra wage in that 1 month, and the trade show. From my experience when we were a lot smaller back in the early days, it's not just the cost of the stand, it's the staffing, it's the banners, and it's all the other stuff. And I know some of it you keep, but it does break and wear out and numerous things. So, they're not small costs if you're a small business. So I don't know if that would be of any...
Yes, I am looking at that.
Yeah.
I am looking at that, whether it's going to probably be quarterly payments or something like that, but then at least it gives them 4 tranches to pay in rather than having to pay it all in one tranche.
I think if you can make stuff really small value, then people, like, if we go into this time of really uncertain circumstances, in a business sense, if you can make something that's almost the cost of like a Netflix subscription or a pair of trainers or even buying a coffee every day, no hint, Luke, I know you love your coffee. But something small like that people go, it feels like it's a bit throwaway kind of money. Like, how many people are sign up for a gym at 40, 50 quid a month and then they only go once a week, so they don't really utilise it and they don't notice that. So, whereas even quarterly payments, if the stand's 1,200 quid, that's still 300, isn't it? It's still a chunk. So, it might be more attractive to your smaller stands because it's more business, but then you've got that money coming in, and early on if there's going to be a problem. If you send the first quarterly bill and then you send the second one and they don't pay, then you've now got minimal time to arrange for somebody else to take the stand, haven't you? I suppose, and you've got to chase that debt and the rest of it. I don't know. I think, in my personal opinion, that would be quite a good model for your smaller businesses that are more susceptible to the national insurance increases and cost of living and cutting back and the rest of it. So you can be like two-prong approach. Here's the data that backs up you should book the stand, and actually what we're doing to help you because we recognise that it's tough on small businesses.
Yeah. Another thing I'm probably going to do, I'm thinking about, is we produce a really good A5 show guide.
Yeah.
Which is given to all the exhibitors and all the visitors. And we set advertising space in that.
Yeah. So
what we may do is, as an extra incentive, is offer people free advertising in it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're talking about a half page at £125, you're talking about a full page at £195. Yeah. So
I think all those things are brilliant because it packages it together for people and makes them feel like they've got value for money, or if they can get some sort of monthly payment going or something. All those sort of little things, but they're not discounting your show. You're not saying last year it was 1,000 and this year it's 800, because I think discounting is like a slippery road back down, because you're undervaluing what you've actually got. But there's nothing wrong with running an offer. There's free this, there's do that. If you sign up before this.
I was about to say,
yeah.
we'd link it up to a deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would do that. Link it up if you sign up by this date.
Yeah, you get a free.
Whatever. Yeah, free half page or free full page.
Yeah.
Yes, we would do that. We also give free tea and coffee to all our exhibitors at the shows.
Yeah.
And pay for that. So that's another little incentive. I have a double room, a big double box at the American Express Stadium, which is just for exhibitors.
Yeah.
And in there is free tea, coffee, water and cookies.
Yeah.
So we pay for that as well.
Yeah.
I'm all about giving more.
Yeah.
To support the exhibitors, because at the end of the day I can't have a show without exhibitors.
Yeah.
So
I think the kind of ethos of it for me is making sure that people know all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And like they've got to see the value. Like if you start to notice that there's a drop off because of cost of living and the budget and all that kind of stuff, and people saying, "Oh, I'll wait until after Christmas, New Year," and you need to kind of turn that around. It's making sure people see what the value is, and then hitting them with the offers and the rest of it. Because, to be fair, we'll probably book a slot at one of your shows, especially the Amex one. We did do that last year, and that was very good. But if I was like, we could pay monthly and it's interest free, why wouldn't we do that? And then that way you've secured us. We're not even going to notice it, and it's done and it's paid for, isn't it? And then if that comes with the free advertising, so we're not the small business or the massive one. We're in between the kind of sub 30 employees. But I think that we would. That would catch my eye anyway. Just trying to be frugal about it, really, because it's not a case of maybe necessarily cutting back. It's more making sure you're being cost effective with the money that you have got for some businesses. So
Another thing is I have not increased the price this year. For next year.
Yeah,
I'm holding the price.
Yeah,
I mean. Some people have said, your price is it still the same? I said, yeah. Because again, looking at the way things are, I thought, well, to put an increase now, put an extra £100 on here and £100 on there, it starts to take it out of some people's reach. Yeah. Especially if times are challenging for them. Yeah. So we've frozen the price for 2026.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, which I think is good, part of all the offer. You just got to make sure it's like really well shouted about and promoted to capture those people that are like, we didn't really get much from it last year, maybe we won't do it again, because it's staffing it and all the rest of the costs. So, Okay. Right. Well, I think that's kind of come to the end of your challenges, so to speak, and obviously your goals and stuff. Was there anything you wanted to ask or have a chat about or bring up at all that you perhaps haven't put on your sheet or anything?
No, not really. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. You've actually put forward some very interesting questions.
Well, it's kind of my job to kind of prod a little bit, I suppose.
Which has got me thinking as well. So,
well, I'm glad I got you thinking.
That's definitely got me thinking, so that's been very good. And it's enlightening when you do something like this. And especially when you've got somebody like yourself who is asking such good questions.
Yeah, I mean, my job is to sort of prod and think outside the box and from the other side as well, so... So I'm glad you like the questions.
Yeah, very good.
It's been really good having you on, Mike, and I wish you all the best for next year and the show and the rest of it. And just quickly, shout out what's the website and contact details if people want to book on or have a look at your shows.
The website is Brighton and Hove Business Show. That's the word Brighton and Hove Business Show.uk. You can find me on LinkedIn, Michael Monk. Or if you want to email me, it's mike@brightonandhovebusinessshow.uk. Or you can contact me by my mobile, which is 07885 490 266.
Brilliant. So if anybody's looking for a trade stand in the southeast area or anywhere, or even interested in the franchise model as well, I'm sure you're taking early inquiries on that.
Very much so.
Reach out to Mike and I'm sure we'll give you the details.
Thank you.
Brilliant. All right, it's been lovely having you on, Mike. It'd be nice to have you on maybe in about a year's time, see how things are going.
looking.
Yeah, see where you've gone to and how the economy's packed and how we're progressing to that kind of 3-4 year target.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
No worries. Take care.
Thank you.